Hello everyone. Today we will talk about algorithms, and we will continue about matrices on next session on Friday. So let me talk about algorithms briefly. Okay, there is a message. Okay, you don't need to give comments during the lecture. Please wait until the end of lecture. Then if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, each time I should close the slides and return to check your comments. So let's continue with algorithm. You guys already know about this topic very well because you know about computer science. That's why I don't go through it in details. You got familiar with it in different courses. So just I want to introduce it and give you a simple example, but our focus will be mostly on our topic regarding the book. So an algorithm is a finite sequence of precise instructions for performing a computation or for solving a problem. That's why we need it to solve our complex problems especially, and it gives us some certain steps which should be finite so that we reach our final answer. It will be very useful in order to organize our solution, and for writing our programs we need such algorithms as well. There are some well-known properties of algorithms. I've listed them all from the book. Let's go through them one by one. For input and output, is pretty obvious property of algorithm. It's very similar to a function that you have input, then you will have output. This is our goal at the end, that by using our assumption as input, finally we reach our answers as output. So this is a well-known property of algorithm, which is obvious. And the other property is that the steps of an algorithm must be defined precisely. It's not like we can define them vague. For sure, we should make sure that everything looks good, everything looks solid, and we understood about the step, and we can define it perfectly. Otherwise, it won't be a efficient algorithm. And next one is an algorithm should produce the correct output values for each set of input values. It means that if you know exactly what is your input, it's not possible to try it, for example, another day and you receive different output. This is not the case for algorithm. For sure, for each certain type of input, again, you will receive the same answer again and again. Next one. An algorithm should produce the desired output after finite number of steps for any input in the set. It means that you cannot define infinite number of steps. For sure, it should be finite. It doesn't matter how large it is. So, for sure, it should be finite. Next one. It must be possible to perform each step of an algorithm exactly and in a finite amount of time. This is pretty obvious. The procedure should be applicable for all problems of the desired form, not just for a particular set of input values. Yes, this is true, but also consider this, that sometimes you can limit your input. You can define your input the way that only for that certain input you will receive that answer, because you don't simply care about other part of your domain. That's why defining a domain is important for defining our algorithm. Otherwise, if you cannot have this generality property in your algorithm, it won't work perfectly. So defining the domain is very important. You guys already seen many examples about algorithms. Here is just one simple one as well. And if you want to define it the way that not only programmers understand it, just insert some English, for example, in your algorithm. In that case, we call it pseudocode, as you probably know. But if you are working on a specific program, like for example, C program, and when you want to communicate with other programmers or even the users, then in that case, you need to define algorithm the way which can be defined in C program, for example. So we need such algorithms in order to organize our steps, in order to know from which point we can start and we get inputs and finally return the output as the final answer. So you guys already know, that's why I don't want to go through it in details in this course. And I want to focus more on matrices that we will talk about it on Friday. Okay, guys, if you have any questions about algorithms, you can ask me. Otherwise, I want to go through your first weekly assignment. Please listen to that one anyway, because even though you may got 100 from the assignment, it doesn't mean that you didn't have any error. And it's important to go through it because I may talk about midterm and final exam through it as well. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I move on to our first weekly assignment.